Hello everyone. So on today's video, it's gonna be a very long video, but it's very worth it. Today's video, I thought I would show you guys how I blend. I thought I would teach you guys how to blend, and I thought I would show you guys the brushes that I use to blend. I want you guys to come to my channel and learn. So this is a how to blend shadow. I will be showing you guys probably two looks. I'm not too sure. I think the first one that I did, which is this eye, was very long, but I wanted to show you guys obviously how to blend shadow. That's really important when you are learning how to do makeup. So I will be showing you guys how to do this look. By the way, I also want to mention my friend Chloe's video because she just did a how to blend 101 video. So I will link her video down below because I also think that it's very important to see other people's techniques on how to blend shadow. So I'm going to leave her video down below. This video is going to be so long, so let's just get right into it. Alright you guys, so before we get into the looks, I want to show you guys the brushes that I've been using lately. Starting off with the blending brushes, and honestly it's only been like 3 of them. The first one that I'm going to show you guys is the Morphe M441 brush. Now this brush, if you guys can see, it's very pointy at the end of the brush and then it's kind of fluffy in the middle. I really like this brush because it gets right into my crease, and then because it's so pointy and then fluffy in the middle, it kind of puts the shadow into my crease while still blending it when I do very small circular motions. So this has been one of my favorite brushes to use. Now the next 2 brushes that I'm going to show you are like oval shaped blending brushes, and I feel like people sleep on these when in reality these are like the best ones. So the first one is the M433 brush, which is a oval blending brush, and this one fits right into your crease as well, but I use this one to blend out my transition shades, and it's just a bigger oval blending brush that I love so much. And now you have the M456, which is a smaller version of the M433 brush. It is another very small oval blending brush, and this one I use to pack on like the brow color shadow, the one that's going to blend out the transition shades, because it's very small, so I really like it. I also use to pack on shadows as well. I don't use these 3 blending brushes to pack on shadows onto the lid, just to use them on my crease and as transition shades. So these are the 3 brushes that I highly recommend. Now there's 2 other blending brushes that I really want to mention, and one of them is the M514 brush. Now this brush is a very small compact blending brush that fits right into the crease. I highly recommend this one for people with hooded eyes because it's so small. It's way smaller than the M441 brush, very tiny. So if you have a very like small crease, this is perfect for you. Then the other one is the Morphe M506 brush, which is another small tiny blending brush that fits perfect into the crease. So these 2 brushes I highly recommend for those that have hooded eyes. I'm moving on to my makeupshack brushes. This one is a T14 brush. I really like this brush because it's very small. It gets right into your crease as well, and it's a very good blending brush to smoke out your lower lash line, so I highly recommend it. Now the other brush that I love so much, and you will hear me talking about it in this video, it's not a blending brush, but it is the makeupshack T48 brush. This is a very great brush to cut your crease with because it's very flat and it's kind of hard. It's not a flimsy brush, and I really like that when I'm cutting my crease. I thought I would mention it because I use it all the time and you guys will see me use it anyways in the video. So those are all the brushes that I wanted to mention. I thought it was very important to mention those. There's not a lot of them, but I think the ones that I have are the ones that work really well with me. So with that being said, let's get right into the look. Alright you guys, so let's start this video. Now the first thing to get like a really great blend would be having a really good base. That's the biggest key to a great blend. So I like to use the Plouise Rumor base, which this is in shade number 2, and I have the big one. You guys know she has smaller ones as well, and the reason why I like to use this base is because it's like in between dry and wet. It's a really good consistency. It doesn't dry down all the way, but it doesn't stay wet. It's like in between, which helps your shadow stick. So this is the base that I will be using today, and what I like to do is I like to place like a little bit on my eye already, and I'll pick up a Morphe E22 brush. It looks like this, and I'll just start packing this base on and spreading the product all over my lid. And you want to do these motions. You don't want to like swipe the brush because all that's going to do is remove the product. You want to pack it on, and now you have yourself a really nice clean base. So taking this Morphe M441 brush, it looks like this. I'm going to dip into the Certifeye, the Dynasty palette. It looks like this. And I'm going to start off with this darker green. Now, the way I like to do my eyeshadow is I like to start with the darkest shade first. That is a technique that I learned from the UK artist. Now, it's not a new technique. I did hear that some of my mutuals have learned that from a lot of their teachers here in the USA. But I learned it from the UK artist. It's not a new technique. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I have the product on my brush. And what I like to do is I like to build my products. So when I dip into the palette, I'm not like dipping like a bunch of times or picking at the shadow. I'm like lightly tapping on the shadow to pick some up. And then I start doing tapping motions into my crease. So you guys can see that this is my crease right here. So I do tapping motions like this. And this ensures that I am getting the most pigmentations out of my shadow rather than like doing swiping motions. I don't like doing that. I know a lot of people do, but I don't, because I feel like that just dusts away your shadows. So I'm picking up more product and I am doing tapping motions onto my crease. And this is how I get the most pigmentation out of the shadow. And the reason why I really like this brush specifically is because it's very pointy at the tip and then it's very fluffy like in the middle, and it kind of helps put my shadows into my crease while still blending them. I'm going back into my palette and picking up more product little by little. I feel like when you go in right away with a lot of shadow, it just creates patches and it makes your shadows like become really dusty, and I don't like that. I rather build up my product little by little. And I know I keep saying that, and I'm going to keep emphasizing on that because again, I found personally that just going in with a lot of shadow all at once, it creates patches and it just gets stuck onto your base. So I rather go in little by little. So now taking the M433 brush, I'm going to take this lighter green right here, and this is the shadow I'm going to use to blend out that dark green. And so what I like to do, I like to do tapping motions again, so you see how the color is on there, you can see it. And then I start doing like very small circular motions, very slowly and small, rather than going like all in like this, because again, your shadows are gonna dust away and you don't want that. So just very slowly start blending those two together. And this takes time, don't worry if it still looks a little weird. Okay, so just keep blending, and now I'm going to start pushing that lighter green outwards and then blending the inner portion of the eye as well. So you don't want to leave it that blank. So back to blending, I'm picking up a little bit more of that green. Remember, you want to keep building your product and blending them out. Now, another little trick I like to do is going back with the original brush, which was the M441 brush, and then with no additional product on your brush, going back and blending that darker shade up to the lighter shade, just so they can like blend evenly, if that makes sense, and there's no harsh lines. So remember, I'm taking the shadow outwards. Now you could leave your shadow like this. You don't have to necessarily use 3 shadows. You could just use a darker shade and then a lighter shade, and that's it. I would leave it like this, but I don't want to do that. I want you guys to learn like how to use 3 shadows, because that's usually what a regular eye look would be, is using 3 shadows and then like a shadow on the lid. So taking this lighter pastel green and the Morphe M456 brush, which is a very tiny oval brush, I'm going to pat instead of swipe. I'm going to pat this shade right up here. Now this is a very light shade, so it might not come up on the camera, but I can see it in my mirror. And you are placing this one up here, and then you start blending it out. So I like to do tapping motions when it comes to like when it's like really close to my brow bone, because when I do swiping motions again, it just disappears. So I like to do tapping motions. Now a lot of people don't take their shadows up to their brow. I like to utilize my whole entire eye or eyelid, so you don't have to take your shadows up to your brow. But again, I like to use my entire lid. So we will be taking our shadows up to our brow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more of that middle green that I used right here, and I'm going to add a little bit more because I want to push this product outwards and have like a shadow that goes outwards like this. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going back in with that darker shade and I'm adding some more as well, pushing that product out as well, so everything could look like cohesive and even. Guys, if you guys can hear my heater, I am so sorry. I'm so cold. My feet are cold. It's raining in California today. I'm not complaining about the rain, but I'm cold. My feet are cold. So I'm sorry. So we have a pretty good blend going on right now. I'm going to cut the crease off of camera and then I'll come right back. Alright guys, so I'm back. I cut the crease. Now I'm going to go in with the Plouise base. This is in Vivid Violet. So I wasn't going to show you guys this part because, you know, this is strictly a blending video. But I mean, I think it's also important for you guys to see how I blend my lid colors together because I am using 3. So I'm picking up my favorite flat brush. This is from the makeupshack. This is a T48. It's just a flat brush. This is the best brush to cut your crease with. I love it. I will never like use another one because it's flat and it's a very hard brush. It's not flimsy. I don't like when I have like flat brushes that are like very flappy and flimsy and like loose. I like the brushes to be like compact, like in one spot and they're not gonna move, because I feel like that makes you cutting your crease way easier. So I like to do stamping motions, but I'm just going to add this Plouise base onto my lid and I am stamping the product on. Now I'm trying to do this without talking, but it's very hard. I also want to make sure that I am like basically like teaching you guys. Stamping this eyeshadow onto my eye like so, instead of doing swiping motions, because then you're just moving the product, especially because this base is like a liquidy base, not liquidy, but it's like the Plouise, the regular Plouise base. All right you guys, now I'm going to take the other base, which is called Touch of Frost, sorry. Same flat brush, and I'm going to put that one besides the purple one. I feel like this is a very serious video and I'm not trying to crack any jokes because, like, you know, I want you guys to come to my channel and like learn, you know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, that's what I really want to do, is just teach others. So I'm sorry if in this video I'm just like focused, you know? So now if you guys can see, there's a very harsh line right here. So what I'm going to do is I mix both of the colors together on my brush and I'm going to take it and just pat them together so they can blend into each other and it doesn't look like a very weird harsh line there. They just go into each other. Alright, so that looks pretty okay. Now I'm going to take this light pastel purple and with a flat brush, this is from Plouise, I'm going to kind of push my lid down a little bit with my finger and press the shadow in. Again, you don't want to do swiping motions. That's just gonna move your product and you do not want that. You want to make sure that you're doing packing motions. Also, you want to make sure you're picking a product little by little. You don't want to add a lot of shadow because then what happens, it starts to look very chalky and dusty. Make sure you're not adding a lot. You're going in little by little. Then I'm taking this light pastel blue and I am adding that one next to this purple, packing it on lightly, then going back in with the purple right in between the blue just to blend everything in. I'm also going to add a little bit of that green on the outer portion of the eye, just like that, and then pick up that same M441 brush and that darker green that we used and start blending this right on the outer portion of the eye like so. Alright guys, I did some liner, so now what I'm going to do, I already did the other eye, I'm going to put the Plouise base in Hint of Mint. It looks like this, and I have this Morphe M158 brush. It's just an angle brush. It's supposed to be for the brows. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the waterline. Now these bases you definitely do have to set. They kind of dry down but not like all the way, so I'm gonna set mine. My camera not go in and out. I know you guys get upset about that, but again, like, I don't have no one helping me, so I'm really sorry. Also, you don't have to do this. This is personal, like, preference. I know some people's eyes are very sensitive and I always get shadow in my eye, but my eyes are not sensitive, so yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and set this. I know, I'm sorry I'm pulling on my eye, probably looks gross, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So now I'm gonna grab the small pencil brush from the makeupshack. This is the T65, and I'm going to start blending that dark green right along the waterline. And again, I like to build up my colors, so I'm adding quite a bit of shadow. And then switching to the makeupshack T14 brush, picking up that dark shadow, and then I'm blending it outwards or downwards to give like a really nice smoky effect. and then blending everything out. And I'm going to pop on some lashes. Alright, you guys, so I put on some lashes. These are by the Makeup Shack in the style Dubai, but this is the finished look. Alright, love, so I completely forgot to film an outro, but this is the final look. I hope you all took something from this video and learned some new tricks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.